Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is August 28th, and right now we're looking at the mid-level water vapor loop, and you can't miss our storm system off the coastline here, spawning some lightning strikes with it, brought a few thunderstorms up the Washington coast, across Vancouver Island as we speak. It's going to continue its trek off to the east and bring some lightning potentially to western Washington, southwest BC, and eventually pushing across the Cascades into eastern Washington. We'll take a look at those details here in a moment. Taking a look at yesterday, this is the visible satellite imagery. Look at the smoke across BC, western Washington. You can see the marine layer making its way down the Strait of Juan de Fuca into western Washington and Oregon. Now watch the thunderstorms kick off across some of the Blue Mountains, push off across Idaho through the afternoon and evening hours. Look at some of the fire activity there across BC, continuing to pump out a lot of smoke. Sun sets across the region, but you can kind of see that marine layer still pushing into western Washington and western Oregon. Thunderstorms starting across Vancouver Island. Marine layer continues its trek inland. Thunderstorms continue, and as we go through this morning, look at that. You could see that lightning strike off the Washington coast, right off of Nia Bay there, and you can see a couple off of Highway 101 right there across the Strait of Juan de Fuca, and lightning continues across Vancouver Island this morning. You can see the sun rise, and you can see the extent of that marine layer up into the valleys here, the western slopes of the Cascades. Mount Rainier, nice and sunny right now. However, you can really see it there as the thunderstorms continue and the smoke continues to move across the area here. So look at some of the weather models here, and we'll try to get some of that timing on the potential thunderstorms here across western Washington. But looking at Seattle yesterday, 84 degrees, about 8 degrees above average, and hopefully we can make up some of this deficit in our precipitation for the month of August. We usually average about an inch. We've only gotten 1,200 so far. Red flag warning for southwest Oregon. You guys know the drill. This is the stormy, windy Tuesday expected. National Weather Service Pendleton talking about those gusty westerly winds, potentially to 55 miles per hour. The Dalles, Goldendale, Pendleton, Ellensburg, you guys are going to under the gun here for some gusty winds today. And you can see there's even a threat for a severe storm. Pasco and Pendleton off through the east. This is mainly a wind-driven threat here, but there's going to be some plentiful lightning with some of these storms here as well. So heads up for that. This is looking at Spokane National Weather Service. The low's going to track right over the area here, so you can see some pretty impressive 24-hour rainfall totals. We'll also take a look at the weather models here with that as well. Always great graphics here from the National Weather Service Spokane. This is, if you want a nice affordable home weather station, here has a lightning detection system on it. Click to save 10% off on the link below. I highly recommend this station. And don't be fooled by that marine layer out there. Still some degraded air quality out there, especially across central and southern Oregon. And some of this is going to push off into eastern Oregon here as we get this westerly surge across the region. But we may clear out here pretty well across the Puget Sound and the Willamette Valley over the next couple of days. So we have that to look forward to. And of course, the fires and the smoke continue across British Columbia. I'm going to see the degradation here at my house, my air quality index sensor, and it kind of peaked and dropped back down a little bit yesterday, but still not great out there right now. So just have that in the back of your mind. Now let's look at the system. We got the European on the left versus the NAM on the right. This is the 12Z run. You can see some activity possibly around the noontime hour and through the early afternoon up across western Washington, southwest BC. And then in the early morning hours, the NAM and the European have pretty good precipitation amounts moving across some of the Puget Sound here. Should be kind of short-lived as those track north, but pretty good amounts across the west slopes of the Cascades as well. And you can see the system push off into eastern Washington, Idaho, and kind of move out of the region. But then check it out. By the time we get towards Wednesday night, we've got this next one bearing down on us here from the northwest. A little bit of disagreement here on just the exact placement of that storm, but pretty good agreement in the trough itself. And that's as far as the NAM 12 cam goes out, 84 hours. This is looking at the lightning flash density potential here on last night's European run. It picked up some of the storm activity here pretty well up the Washington coast across Vancouver Island, and it wants to show some activity here as we go through the early afternoon hour. Then the main show for the Seattle Metro here looks to start very early tomorrow morning, maybe right after midnight according to the European model, and bring some interesting lightning potential here across western Washington up the slopes of the Cascades. Cascades eventually pivots off to the east for some strong or even severe storms as we go through tomorrow afternoon. So interesting stuff as that system tracks across the region. This is looking at the composite reflectivity on the NAM 3km high resolution model, trying to mimic the Doppler radar as it moves up the Washington coast. Not too bad with some of that activity there. It kind of underrepresents, I think, the coverage of some of this precipitation activity. But again, you can kind of see it kicking off maybe some stuff across western Washington, Vancouver Island through the afternoon hours. And then we continue on into Tuesday morning and look at those thunderstorms kind of erupt here across western Washington, the Cascades here, probably or possibly up across the Seattle Metro, Kitsap Peninsula as well, not out of the question. And then this activity pivots off to the east here as we go through the day Tuesday. Some strong and severe storms possible the further you go east on in through Tuesday night. And then as we scroll out far enough, you can see kind of that upper level low pivot across the area here. And the next system quickly on its heels moving towards us as we go through Wednesday night. And this is looking at the HRRR 12Z run. This goes out 48 hours. This is lightning potential as well. So if we go through the day today, you notice it really didn't pick up, maybe just a little bit of that picked up some of that activity across Vancouver Island. But yeah, it didn't pick it up too well. So it might be underdoing some of this activity here. Now as we scroll into the very early morning hours, has it a little bit further west here across the Olympic Mountains, southwest BC. Kind of tries to work its way down towards Tacoma and Olympia there. You can see it pop off across the Cascades as well as you go through Tuesday. And you can see the upper level low. It kind of wants to keep some lightning potential around here as we go through the day and evening on Tuesday. And then you can see the spin in the atmosphere as it moves across the area as we go through Wednesday morning. That's as far out as the HRRR goes. So the HRRR didn't handle things that well this morning, so it might be underdoing some of that coverage. This is the high resolution Canadian model. Not bad. Picked up some of this activity off the Washington coast, Vancouver Island here. And then actually, let's update that and make sure we have all the most recent information as it's updating as we speak. And as we go through this afternoon and evening, again, that could be that afternoon roundup here across some of the San Juans, maybe southwest BC. Then we go into the early morning hours of Tuesday, and you can see that interesting streak right across the Seattle Metro here, up across the North Puget Sound, Whidbey Island, up towards southwest BC in the very early morning hours tomorrow. And look at some of these precipitation values kicking off here. This is 3-hour precipitation amounts here. Some of them over a half an inch for areas on the east slopes of the Cascades. Could bring some interesting flooding concerns out there as well. Well, if you're underneath one of those heavier showers, but then you can kind of see the spin in the atmosphere here as that system pushes off to the east as well. This is looking at the profile for Seattle. You can see the convective available potential energy really isn't available to almost 12,000 feet there, and you can kind of see saturated layers there at the surface. You're probably not going to see the base of these clouds. You might see a lightning flash down through the marine layer when the system does move across, and you do have this instability aloft for that thunderstorm potential. And now look at north of Spokane. You can kind of see the dew point here in the green line. The red line is temperature here, so you got a lot of dry air there. You're not going to have obscuring clouds, so you could get some nice cloud to ground bolts here with this thunderstorm activity for tomorrow, and pretty decent cape available here across some portions of eastern Washington. This is looking at the thunderstorm threat for today. You can see it does include just off to the east of Portland, does include Seattle and southwest BC here, including Pendleton. And then tomorrow, that severe threat, Pendleton east, including Spokane, and then day 3 starts to push off to the east, as you can see. Now let's go ahead and compare the European control versus the GFS. Last night's run 06Z. Here goes our storm system moving through the area, and then we get that next one quickly right over the top of us here. Then we try to build this ridge here. It's showing up on both the GFS and the European. So it's going to kind of be interesting to see how much we warm up in between that trough driving back down. And then often the extended runs, you have to take my word for it, but there is some troughing that continues to remain through early September here. But right now, we're not going to worry too much about it. Let's do one thing at a time and just kind of worry about what's happening tonight. And by the way, I may be live streaming today at some point also, because it's pretty interesting and rare lightning threat across western Washington and the southwest BC. Probably warrants having another chat about it. This was looking at total precipitation in inches. Last night's European run versus the GFS. You can see the system moving across the area tonight. Pretty good value showing up, especially west slopes of the Cascades here, up over 1.5 inches there. And as we go through the early morning hours tomorrow, this tracks across the region. GFS showing some pretty good amounts across northeast Washington, Idaho Panhandle. Hopefully more of this spreads up into British Columbia than what is forecast right now. And you can see the heavier amounts according to the European across Vancouver Island and some of southwest BC here as well. And put that into motion. And this is the next trough here. So we're into Wednesday afternoon. You'll see the arrival of that next one, bringing additional precipitation values there. But look at, it's kind of interesting here, because if you go out 114 hours, the GFS has 1.01 and the European has 1.01 inches of rainfall for Seattle. So that would definitely be much needed. And even getting some rainfall across some Oregon with that next trough. This is looking at the daily max 2-meter temperature here. Check it out. I don't know that we're going to get to 78 today. It depends on how much that marine layer burns off during the day today, but definite cool down coming tomorrow. We may break our streak of 70-degree days here at SeaTac, and which would be I don't know the exact number of days we have at 70 or above, but I know we're in second place right now. So that would end that streak. We would be in second place all time as far as consecutive 70-degree days or warmer at SeaTac, and then warming back up again a bit here on Wednesday, and maybe Thursday, that next trough swinging through here, keep us below 70 again. A little bit of bounce back Friday and Saturday coming up here, but it depends on what that trough does and what the ridge does as it builds into our north. 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook here. Kind of a mixed bag highlighted over southern Oregon. 6 to 10 day precipitation probability outlook here. A couple troughs moving through the region here. So we got the above average signal, and you can kind of see the fires out there. That's the Camp Creek fire off to the east of Portland. Looks like it's 0% contained right now, but you can see a lot of fires, of course, across central southern Oregon Cascades there. And you can see the Sourdough fire still ongoing across Washington, Spokane, Idaho. You guys know the drill. I pulled this up as well. This looks like the maximum daily climatology for as far as lightning. You can see it extends east about as far as it goes on August 3rd. Kind of interesting stuff here. You can see the increased activity across BC here as well. But you can see the huge amounts of activity across Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, and Utah during the summer months. So yeah, you can see that we're generally not as much, we don't get near as much lightning as some other places across the country. And of course, Florida, the lightning capital of the lower 48 states, we're just in this marine layer here. We don't get the unstable air that other areas get, especially east of the Rocky Mountains. So just thought I'd show you guys that. Now check this out. The most recent El Nino update here as of this morning, we are in strong El Nino territory, 1.5. You can see that climb out of La Nina from last fall. We are now into strong El Nino territory here. And this shows westerly wind anomalies here. And I'm going to show you what that means here in a moment. But across the equatorial Pacific, it's been showing up since about mid-July here and kind of increasing. And this is kind of a classic signature of El Nino and the atmosphere responding with its circulation. Now, this is neutral conditions here. We tend to get this heat build up a little bit more here, of course, across a lot of the western Pacific Ocean here. And then you get more convection generally in this area, maritime continent over here. For La Nina, this kind of gets enhanced. You get this increased easterlies here, and you pull this water away from South America, and it brings some upwelling. You get La Nina, that cold tongue across the equatorial Pacific. But during El Nino, you get these increased westerly winds here, and you start to bring this warmer water here. It bunches up, warms up right off the coast of South America all the way out with the warm tongue there. And so you create low pressure here across some of the equatorial Pacific, and you get increased convection there. So you change the circulation pretty much of the Pacific Ocean, biggest ocean on the planet, has a lot of implications around the rest of the globe. And so showing you that one more time, that's kind of signs of that Walker circulation picking up there across some of the central Pacific Ocean. Interesting stuff. But anyway, yeah, I'll probably do a live stream at some point today. I'm trying to decide if I want to go out across the peninsula this morning or maybe drive out to the west a little bit and try to catch some of the thunderstorm. You can kind of see a little buildup building there right on the Olympics. I might not do that, though. I might just kind of hang out here and wait for the overnight, early morning hour stuff and try to get some lightning strikes here. Or if I decide, I may go eastern Washington early tomorrow morning and try to catch some of the more photogenic stuff off there through eastern Washington. But anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. I'll probably talk to you again today at some point, hopefully in a live stream tonight. Another weather station giveaway coming up again here. If you are a member, you'll be entered automatically. And the next one, I'll probably just do a random giveaway to one of the 200 and some odd members I have here. So it will be equally spaced for each individual member. I may do another mug giveaway here too. I just shipped out 2 yesterday as well. And if you also have any ideas for the store and what kind of graphic designs you may see, I got a lot of comments yesterday I still have to check out. Let me know in the comments below, and you can see the store down there as well. And so anyway, yeah, I'll talk to you guys either tonight or at the very latest tomorrow morning. And I'll probably try to live stream if I do go out and catch some lightning streaks as well. So anyway, I will see you guys then. Hope you guys are having a good day.